Hey guys, I was just walking home from the office and thinking about some of the people that I work with, some of the leaders that I work with, and thinking about how many people who are leaders who don't have mentors, don't have coaches, and the ones who do, who really feel like it's vital that they must have one. And here's what I'm wondering from you is, do you have a coach? Do you have a mentor? Do you have people that guide you on a regular basis? Do you have people that you can go to who will tell you the truth, who will direct you, who will help you to see the greatness in you when you don't see the greatness in yourself? That's the question, right? So here's the thing that I find really fascinating about this. And what I find fascinating about it is that so many times leaders think that they're coaches. One of the sayings of the city that I live in, I say, in Vancouver, you're a barista, you're an actor, and you're a coach. Whatever else you do, those are probably the things that you're claiming to do, because that's kind of what it is, this city. But a lot of leaders claim that they're coaches. They claim to coach the people they work with, but they don't really understand what the process of coaching is. And they try to do coaching from the old school leadership, which is absolute dominance, by shitting on you and telling you what you're doing wrong, and think that that is actually going to motivate you. And I get that if you're a leader and you're probably over 40, that is likely to be the kind of coaching you got. But that is not the kind of coaching that's going to work at all anymore. You got to coach people as a coach. No, we're not talking about mentor, we're talking about coaching. As a coach, you got to be able to help people find their resources. You got to help people to come to their own conclusion rather than telling them what they're doing wrong. Have them look inside themselves. You can't motivate people by shitting on them. It just doesn't work. You got to find out if they know what their resources are, and you dig into that and help them to bring that forward. Because here's the thing. Jack Welch, who you may or may not remember was the CEO of GE, climbed the ladder from the basement all the way to the very top, has become a very famous leader. And I got to tell you that, if you read some of his early stuff, it's pretty ruthless and definitely that dictatorial leadership style. Not a fan of that work. It's something that is actually completely outdated. However, I've seen him speak, Jack Welch speak, several times. And one of the times I saw him speak, actually the last two times I saw him speak was in New York at the World Business Conference. And he's had a complete shift. In fact, he's written a lot about what he calls the generosity gene, and that you shouldn't hire people who don't have the generosity gene. And in that, he talks about being a leader and being a coach. And that when you hire somebody, of course you believe in the great things that they've got inside them. You believe in their potential. You want them to do well. And initially they probably do really well, and then they kind of drop off. And that happens. But what he talked about was the importance of having an employee never ever be shocked that never let them be shocked that you fired them. They should come to that conclusion themselves based on the fact that you have offered them coaching, that you've pointed out what they were really great at, and had them come to the conclusion of where they were falling behind and what they needed to work on. That you've guided them along that process and asked them, well, if that's where your strength is and this is where your weakness is, where do you see that you need coaching? And that you offer that coaching, and that you continually offer that coaching, so that, what's the next level of that coaching? So that the point comes when that person's time is up, that they're the ones who come to you. They've come to their own conclusion. This is not for me. This is not the right position for me. I'm not the right person for this job, whatever it is. Now, onto another piece of this that I think is really important for leaders. I talk a lot about passion, but understanding what I mean by passion is a whole other thing. Your people don't have to be passionate about you or the job. Now, I know it sounds like a really weird thing to say. They've got to be able to tie their passion to the job, to you. But they don't have to actually be passionate about it. They have to be passionate about something, and you've got to help them to get in touch with that. And just coming to the conclusion that they're in the wrong job because they're passionate about something else, that's false. Passion is not necessarily career-based. Passion is often got nothing to do with career. That people want a certain lifestyle, they go to work, they are happy enough going to their work. And the people who work for you, you want them to do their job. It's the preference that they're passionate about it, but it's not the only thing. Find out what they are passionate about. Find a way to tie that in for them. Find a way for them to tie what it is they're passionate about to your company, to your product, to your offering, to you as the leader. But don't shit on them because they're not passionate about the industry. Maybe they haven't found their passion yet. Listen, I know people who have never found their passion, who are 50, 60 years old, have never found their passion in the sense of a career. But once that was pulled back and they realized that they didn't have to be about career, suddenly they found that they could be passionate about something else. The career was a way for them to make the money, a way for them to live, but their passion is actually about something that doesn't involve finances. So be a great coach, okay? Be a great coach. Being a great coach is not about shitting on your people. It's about uplifting them and helping them to find the resources within themselves that will get in touch with their passion. And if that is something that can be tied to the job and tied to you, that is really awesome. What you care about is if people can do what they do and be engaged. And if people can be engaged without their passion, it's, again, I'm going to keep saying this, it's the preference that they're passionate about it. But if they can be engaged and committed to the work and committed to the company and committed to providing excellence, rock on. Here's the deal. Like Gary Vaynerchuk says, you cannot expect people to be as passionate about your business as you. If you're not passionate about the business, then you need to get out and do something else. Or at least put people in place who can be that passionate. But you can't expect people to come and work for you and be as passionate as you would be about your business. That's your job. Your job. And being really passionate about your business and what it is that you do means being passionate about coaching the people you work with to help them find their resources, to help them see their great stuff. Listen, I'm going to challenge you right now as a leader. I want you to go to your people, the people who are really getting on your tits, the people who are really not stepping up in the way that you would really like them to step up, okay? And I want you to find like 3-4 great things about them that you can really tap into and share with them. Find out what's really good about them. Stop and check with them what's really good. And tell them about that. Remember, it's the principle of the shit sandwich. Something really great in the middle, on each side, and sometimes a little bit of the nasty stuff in the middle. Deliver the great stuff. You can't motivate people by shitting on them. Dov Baron, Full Monty Leadership, fullmontyleadership.com. And as always, stay curious, my friends. Stay curious. But this time, stay curious about how you can coach by lifting somebody up. How you could get so much more out of them by lifting them up. Stay curious, my friends. Stay curious. Till next time, Dov Baron, fullmontyleadership.com.